सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So, in the battlefield of Mahabharata war, Arjuna was suffering from the disease of samsara because of the attachment to his relatives, grief at the thought of their loss, the loss which he had to bring about by killing them, and the resultant confusion and delusion regarding the right action in that present situation. So first, Arjuna tries to tell Bhagwan about his perspective, that he thought this war was adharma because here the entire generations were about to get wiped out, and this would have long-term consequences for dharma in the society later. So he was hoping that Bhagwan understands his feelings and perspective. In fact, he even wanted to hear Bhagwan tell him that I understand what you are saying. But Bhagwan doesn't say anything. He just keeps quiet, because he wants Arjuna to unburden himself, to exhaust all this emotional build-up which had happened in him, which was leading to the mental turmoil in him, So he just kept listening. But when Arjuna got so dejected that he just sat down on the chariot and put his bow and arrow aside with tears in his eyes, and he told Bhagwan that I can't fight this war. That is when Bhagwan decides to speak, and mainly he speaks so that he can shake Arjuna out of this dejected thinking of his. And the first method that he uses are some harsh words, hoping that they will whip him up to get up and fight this war, He even calls him a klebya. For Arjuna to be called a klebya, it should have shaken him up, Klebya means an unmanly person. He tells him that this womanly behavior of yours will get you ill fame while you live here on this earth, and later it is not going to take you to Swarga as you were thinking, it's going to take you to Naraka, because if you don't do this duty of yours of restoring dharma in the society, you're a Kshatriya, it will take you to Naraka. So after Bhagwan kept telling him all this, gradually Arjuna starts doubting his own thinking, that perhaps his own thinking is not right, because up till now he was very sure about what he was saying. And eventually he admits his ignorance and tells Bhagwan that I can't fight this war. I don't know what to do in this situation. I'm so sorrowful and I'm so confused. You please remove this sorrow of mine once and for all. He did not ask for Bhagwan's advice because he wanted a permanent solution. He knew that these samsari ways, the samsaris, the worldly people use to remove sorrow, they are just temporary. What are the people doing here? They're just distracting their mind. They cannot remove the sorrow from the root cause, So he did not want this simple advice, a temporary solution. He wanted a permanent solution. So he expresses his helplessness, surrenders to Bhagwan, and requests him to give him self-knowledge. Arjuna undergoes a transformation in the battlefield. Arjuna the soldier gets transformed into Arjuna the disciple. And Bhagwan also accepts him as a shishya because now he was talking like a shishya. He wanted to know. Till a person is very sure of what he's talking, a sensible person does not give advice. So eventually Bhagwan speaks up, he accepts him, and he teaches him Gita Shastram, which is going to start from the coming shloka of this chapter, and it will continue up to the 66th shloka of the 18th chapter. This entire thing is Gita Upadesha. So hence Bhagwan is no more Partha Sarthi. Partha is Arjuna's name, Sarthi is his driver. All this while he was Partha Sarthi, But now he becomes Arjunasya Guruhu. He becomes Gita Acharya henceforth, And he teaches Arjuna this self-knowledge, and through Arjuna he gives this knowledge to humanity as Jagat Guru. Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. So now we are going to enter into the actual Bhagavad Gita, which starts from the coming shloka. And it is from this shloka Adi Shankaracharya ji writes his commentary, the most famous commentary, which is the last word in the interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. It is from this shloka. We will chant. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashocyananvashocastvam Pragyavadamscha bhashase Gatasumscha Nanushocanti panditaha Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan is Bhagwan who is endowed with the entire Shri. Shri is wealth. The entire material wealth of this world, which everyone has put together, belongs only to Bhagwan. We all, whatever little we possess, we are just temporary holders. We are just taking care of it for a little while. And of course the spiritual wealth belongs all to Bhagwan. So the Bhagwan who is endowed with Shri Uvacha says, Ashocha. Ashocha means for those who do not deserve grief. Anvashochas tvam. Tvam, you are grieving for that. You are grieving for that which does not deserve grief. Pragya, pragya means wisdom. Vadamsh are words. Bhashase, you are speaking. Yet you are speaking words of wisdom. Gatasun. Gatasun means from whom the breath, the prana has left. Means those who are dead. Agatasunshcha, from whom the prana has not left, means those who are alive. Na anushochanti, do not grieve. Panditaha, the wise people. The wise people do not grieve for either the dead or living. So the Gita Shastra begins with the word Ashocha, that which does not deserve grief. And it ends in the 66th shloka of the 18th chapter by the words Ma Shuchaha, do not grieve. The 66th shloka of 18th chapter is a very important shloka. It is literally like the takeaway of the entire knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. It says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishami ma shuchaha. Do not grieve. So the entire Gita Shastra, it begins with do not grieve and it ends with do not grieve. It is a Shok Nivritti Shastra in which Bhagwan tells humanity that you don't have to grieve in life for any reason. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And this particular shloka of this, the 11th shloka of 2nd chapter, condenses the entire teaching. It is a very important shloka. It is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And what is the essence? Self-ignorance is the cause of all sorrow and problems in life. And so self-knowledge alone is the remedy for it. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. This world does not have the capacity to remove anyone's sorrow, There's only distraction going on here, Atma Jnanam Samsara Karanam, Atma Jnanam Moksha Karanam. Atma Ajnanam, self-ignorance, is the cause of samsara. Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge, is mukti from samsara. This is what Bhagavan is going to elaborate in the entire Bhagavad Gita. This is Brahma Vidya. And to understand Brahma Vidya, one needs a prepared, matured mind. Everybody doesn't understand this, And this mind gets prepared by Yoga Shastra, which is taught in this scripture again. Many of the scriptures in Vedanta, some exclusively talk about Brahma Vidya, some exclusively talk about Yoga Shastra. But in this mother of all scriptures, Bhagavan teaches both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra. That is why at the end of every chapter we chant, Iti Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. This has both the knowledges, And through Arjuna, he is teaching us also this, both the knowledges, So Bhagavad Gita starts very beautifully. Bhagavan starts it very beautifully by saying, Ashocha nanva shochastvam. Ashocha, that which does not deserve any grief. Anva shochastvam, you are grieving for that. The word shocha means that which deserves grief, which has legitimate reasons to be sorrowful. And in this world, in this society, we have universally accepted certain events as sorrowful and certain as not sorrowful. Like death, for example, is a matter of sorrow always, even if that person is relieved from all the suffering and pain. There is always a tinge of sorrow when somebody dies, So death is synonymous with mourning. It is a matter of shocha. Whereas occasion like marriage is a matter of fun and joy, At least in the beginning it is, Like they say in the beginning, it's all mera meri, and very soon for some people it turns into mara mari. All your luck, don't know what's going to happen. So marriage is like a box of chocolates mixed together with different flavored chocolates mixed together, and you don't know the flavors. You pick up one chocolate and put it in the mouth. It may be very good, or the flavor is not up to your taste and you go, yak, what is that, So marriage can be like that. It's just good luck, bad luck, your luck, But yes, in the beginning, it's a matter of ashocha. So is a childbirth. When a child is born, there's so much joy. Tomorrow that child may become a cause of your sorrow, but no, in the beginning is very happy and it is ashocha. So Bhagavan says here, Ashocha nanva shochas tvam. Tvam, he is addressing Arjuna, and through Arjuna he is talking to all of us that if you are also sorrowful, you are also going to be, if you are ajnani, you are also going to be sorrowful in life, But all of us are afflicted with sorrow. Actually, the whole problem of life is this word tvam, because we don't know the meaning of this word tvam, That's where the problem starts. And also tvam is extremely relevant and significant here because it is present in the Mahavakya Tat Tvam Asi. And the entire Bhagavad Gita is the teaching of this Mahavakya Tat Tvam Asi. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal with the Tvam Pada. Pada means the word. Tvam Pada, first 6 chapters. The next 6 chapters, that is from the 7th to the 12th chapters, it deals with Tat Pada, Tat Ishvara. And the last 6 chapters, from 13 to 18, deals with Asipada. Asipada reveals the non-difference between Tat and Tvam. tat Ishvara Tvamasi. You are tat. This is what the whole teaching is. This is what we have to understand. So here Bhagavan says, Ashuch is telling you are grieving for what you should not be grieving, yet Pragyavadamsha Bhashase. Bhashase, you are speaking, Pragya, Vadansha, words of Pragya, big wisdom, lots of wisdom you have, you're talking, yet you're grieving. Why? Because Arjuna was talking things like Kula Dharma, Kula Kshaya, Varna Shankara, Swarga, Naraka, all big things he was talking. Yet he is grieving. So Bhagavan is saying, on one side you're talking such wise words, and the other side you're grieving. Then he says, Gata Soona Agata Soonscha Na Anushochanti Panditaha. Pandita is a wise person. Wise with regard to self-knowledge. Atma Jnana. Then only he is called Panditaha. A person who has a PhD, he may or may not be a Panditaha. In fact, many PhDs are not even worldly wise. They don't even have this wisdom, to live this life properly. But Panditaha means a person who has Atma Jnana. The word Panda means self-knowledge, and the one who has self-knowledge is Pandit. Atma Vishya Buddhihi Yesham Te Panditaha. These people who conduct the puja and rituals, we call them Panditji, but they are not Panditji actually as per the Shastras. They are pujaris or purohits, not Pandit. Pandit is the one who has this knowledge as per the scriptures, the right meaning. So Bhagavan is saying, Panditaha na nushojanti. A wise person does not grieve. And Arjuna is profusely grieving there. So he is indirectly telling Arjuna that you are otherwise. You are ignorant. You are a fool, So you don't have the knowledge. And all of us also belong to that category only. So through him, he is telling us also. You may be a very compassionate, nice person, but without knowledge, there's going to be a lot of sorrow in life, So Arjuna needs to become a Panditaha. This is why Bhagavan is saying he has to become a Panditaha so that the situation which he's seeing it as a problem then doesn't appear as a problem. It will just be a situation, a challenge, which he has to face. Not a problem. Problem is when our knowledge is not there. And the antidote or the antibiotic for ignorance is knowledge. Fortunately, ignorance is like a bacterial infection, It can be cured. If it was a viral infection, we would have no cure for it, Or else, ignorance is compared to the darkness in a room. And what's the remedy for that? Switch on the light. That's all. Similarly, Jnanat evam kevalyam. By knowledge, all the problems of humanity, all the human problems will get solved only by knowledge. Karma, meditation, japa, tapa, all this only prepares the mind for the knowledge. Knowledge has to be gained. It has to be assimilated knowledge for sorrow to go for good from life. Even when it comes to apara vidya, this worldly subjects here, physics, chemistry, all these subjects also, we have to get that knowledge. Now, if we sit and do meditation on our physics teacher's form or do his Naam Japa and do Dandavat Pranama, we are not going to get a physics knowledge like that. We have to study physics. Similarly, we need to get Atma Jnanam. And Atma Jnanam is Atma, Anatma, Viveka. In this we have to analyze, is Atma the source of sorrow or is Anatma the source of sorrow? This analysis is Gita Shastra. The entire, this is what it is, And Arjuna is suffering because of this ignorance. Not just Arjuna, all of us, whoever is suffering is because of this aviveka. So Bhagavan is saying, Panditaha na anushochanti, regarding what? Gata soona agata soonscha. He's taking the example of death because death is a main cause of sorrow, And Arjuna had to bring about death of his relatives. He had to kill his own people. So he's taking this example and he says, Gata soon, from those people whom the prana has left, who are dead, Agata soonscha, or who are alive, Na anushochanti panditaha. A wise person does not grieve. Why? Because he has Atmagyanam. Even from the practical point of view, the person who is dead and gone, he's got no problem. He's dead and gone, And the one who is dying, he also is not grieving there. If there is any will left, he is going to be using that will to fight death if he wants to live, Actually, the doctors many times they say, no, we can't do anything because the patient doesn't have any will to live anymore. He's given up the will. This will to fight, if it's there, the person is not going to be grieving there. He's not sorrowful. The people standing around, the relatives may be sorrowful, but actually they should also not be sorrowful, crying over there, because you make the matters worse for that person, Even the doctors, till the last moment, they keep saying, no, you will be fine. That is the way you take care of a sick person, So the will is working for that person. If it's working, the person is not going to be grieving. There's no question of shoka over there, So, there were this 3 patients in an ICU. And the doctor in charge who was taking care of them knew that their time was over now, So he asked all of them if he could do anything for them. Is there anything you want? So the first patient said that I want a priest because I want to make some confessions. So these Christians, they have in the church also a place for confessions, so that when you confess all the guilt, hurt, all the wrongs you have done, you feel unburdened and light, the mind becomes unburdened, So the doctor made arrangements for a priest, and the priest had come and his problem was solved, Then he asked the second person, what do you want? So he says he wanted to meet some particular relatives. So they were arranged, the doctor made arrangements for them. Then he asked the third person, what do you want? He says, I want another doctor. Because his will is alive, working, he wants to live and he wants a second opinion. You call another doctor here, So this person, see, when he's not grieving over there, he is very much in control over there. He wants to live, So where is the problem? Why the grief, So a Panditaha doesn't worry either about the dead or the alive, and these are only the 2 options. Either you are alive or you are dead. What is the other problem? There is no other problem. Most of the people are grieving because they have not analyzed as to why are they grieving. That analysis is what Bhagwan is going to teach us, So we will read further. Natve vaham jatu nasam Natvam neme janadhipaha न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्. So, na tu eva. Na tu eva means this is not true. Aham, I, jatu, in the past, na asam, I did not exist, this is not true. Natvam, neither you, ne me, neither these, janadhipahas, that is the kings. So it is not true that I, you or these kings did not exist in the past. Na cha eva, and this is also not true, na bhavishyamaha, in the future, sarve, all, vayam, us, vayam means us, ata param, hereafter. So this is also not true that hereafter, in future, all of us will not exist. So in this shloka, he is telling Arjuna that all of us are always present in past, present and future. Actually, we all are eternal, is the message of this shloka. So in the previous shloka, he had said, Panditaha na anushochanti, that the wise people do not grieve. Why? Because the wise person knows the actual person is immortal. This is the secret, And Bhagavan is going to tell us how we all are immortal. And here first he's telling Arjuna. He's telling all this to Arjuna with the main aim to persuade him to fight this battle. Because that is Arjuna's immediate problem. And Arjuna will be able to solve the immediate problem if he solves the fundamental human problem of samsara. If he solves the fundamental problem, then the situation will appear to him as a situation only and not a problem. This war for him was not a universal problem. This is an incidental problem. So we all have two kinds of problems, an incidental problem and a fundamental problem. The incidental problem becomes a problem because of the fundamental problem we have of samsara. And samsara appears to us as what? Attachment, expectations, dependence, which when not fulfilled, we will feel let down and there's going to be frustration, depression, sorrow. So we are actually, the actual problem is samsara, and so because of this, every situation, every challenge becomes a problem. And this problem of sorrow is not an immediate problem, it is a universal problem without any exception. It affects every human being. So Bhagavan is going to solve Arjuna's incidental problem as well as the fundamental problem by giving him this knowledge. And for all of us also, this example of Mahabharata war is taken because this life is a war for us. We are all fighting our own battles, It may be different battles we are fighting, but that is the whole example is because of that, So we also have immediate problems, and the immediate problem is a problem because of the fundamental problem. So Bhagavan is going to teach us how to solve both the problems, So in this chapter, Bhagavan uses 3 methods to solve Arjuna's both the problems, So one is from the philosophical point of view, the other is from the ethical or the moral point of view, and the third is from the worldly point of view. So actually this chapter is complete self-knowledge. If Arjuna was ready to grasp this knowledge, Bhagavad Gita would have ended after the 2nd chapter itself. But Arjuna's mind was not ready, and so he kept asking questions and Bhagavan kept elaborating this, So that is why so many chapters of Bhagavad Gita are there. So here Bhagavan gives him 3 reasons why he should fight this war. The first is the philosophical approach. And this philosophical approach to solve the life's problem is the primary approach of the Shastras. This is what the Shastra is teaching us. This is how, if we understand this, this is how all our life problems are going to solve. And after that, if you've not understood that, then they talk about the ethical or the moral approach, of solving the problems. And the worldly approach is given the least importance in the Shastras. So here in this chapter, up till the 25th shloka, Bhagavan talks about the philosophical approach. And also Arjuna did not have this ethical ignorance. He did not need that also, because he was a very learned person, very well versed with Dharma Shastra. He knew what is Dharma and what is Adharma. That knowledge itself is the reason why so much of guilt is coming in him, His problem was self-ignorance. So mainly that is what he needed, Yet Bhagwan is going to talk from all 3 points of view, So till the 25th shloka, Bhagwan gives the philosophical point of view to tell him that why he has to fight this war. After that, he talks about the ethics, as to why from the ethical and moral standpoint of view, Arjuna must fight this war, because ethical himsa is as good as ahimsa. It is just like giving capital punishment to a criminal, So he should not worry about that. And lastly, he talks about the worldly point of view, that at least if this you have not understood, that by this you have not realized what is your swadharma, then at least for your name, fame, reputation, for that sake you have to fight this war. So these are the 3 things in this chapter Bhagwan is going to talk about. And the first is the philosophical aspect, the most important aspect of the Shastras, which is Atma-jnanam. And Atma-jnanam means Atma, Anatma, Viveka. And we get this Viveka by knowing what is Atma, because the Shastras are telling us that you are Atma. And once we know our truth as Atma, then the rest is negated as Anatma. This is not me, this is Anatma. So we have studied all this in Tattva Bodha. That is why Tattva Bodha was taken before Bhagavad Gita, because that knowledge makes it easier to understand all this. Here everything Bhagwan is not going to tell in detail. There it was told, But before we go into these shlokas, we will just refresh that knowledge once again, so that it will become fresh again in our minds. So if you remember, in Tattva Bodha, the Shishya had asked the question, Atma Kaha? And to that, Guru had replied, defining Atma, that Atma is Sthul Sukshma Karan Sharira Vyatiriktaha Panchakoshaha Atita San Avasthatraya Sakshi Sachidananda Swarupa San Yatishtati Sa Atma. I hope you remember that. So he says that Atma, my real nature, is Vyatiriktaha from Sthul Sharira, our physical body, Sukshma Sharira, our subtle body, and Karan Sharira, our causal body. Causal body is never experienced, but it is the cause for the subtle and physical body. Then he says it is Panchakoshaha Atitaha, it is beyond the 5 sheets of experience. Avasthatraya Sakshi, it is the witness of the 3 states of waking, dream and deep sleep. And its own nature is Sat, Chit and Ananda, that is its Swarupa. Sat means Trikale api tishtati iti Sat, that which is present in all 3 periods of time, past, present and future, is the Atma, it is Sat. Chit means it is Gyan Swarupa, it is consciousness. And Ananda means it is Ananta, it is limitless, which gives us absolute happiness. It is the peace that passeth all understanding. That is the nature of Atma. So, and that Atma I am, that is my own nature. Aham Brahmasmi. Then we also saw in Tattva Bodha that every living being is made up of 2 components, the material component and the spiritual component. The material component is made up of these 3 shariras, and these 3 shariras, when seen from the point of view of our experiences, are itself known as Panchakosha. Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vigyanmaya Kosha and Anandmaya Kosha. These same shariras when we see it from the point of view of our experience. And these shariras are subject to the 3 states of experience, that is waking, dream and deep sleep. So these 3 shariras are known as Upadhi in the Shastras. Upadhi means Updhi. Up is that which is close by, and anything which is close by, another thing which is close to it can do adhyasa of its attributes on it. So Atma and Anatma are very close by, and Anatma superimposes its attributes on the Atma, and we who are actually the Atma take ourselves to be this body mind sense complex. So this Upadhi is known as Anatma. This is not me, it is Anatma. It is Jadatattvam. It does not have consciousness of its own. Inherently it is inert, but its composition is such that it can borrow or reflect consciousness just like a mirror reflects light, right? And our own nature is the Atma, the spiritual component, which is life itself, which pervades the Anatma and enlivens it. Right? You remember all this? Consciousness is an independent principle and it is invisible. It is compared to Akash or Prakash in the Shastras. It says it is Akashvat, Prakashvat. Akash is which gives avakasha to all the objects in this world. All the objects are present in Akasha. Every object is pervaded through and through by space. Or it is compared to Prakasha. It is Prakashvat, the light principle. Not the source of light, but the light which pervades the entire universe. So consciousness is not a part of the Anatma, our body mind sense complex. It's not a part of it. It's not a product of the Anatma. It is not a product of this body mind sense complex. It's not even the property of this body mind sense complex. One of the hypotheses of science says that when matter mixes in a certain correct proportion, consciousness is produced. But the Shastras have declared this right from the beginning, that an Atma is transcendental, it is untouched by Anatma. Asangoham. We have nothing to do with this Anatma, it's untouched by Anatma. Then whenever we see two objects in the world here, any object, we are actually seeing two things here. One is the object and other is the light which is pervading it. If there is no light, we will not be able to see the object. But our attention is on the object, so we take the light for granted. Similarly, our attention is on the body mind sense complex and we take the consciousness for granted. Consciousness is limitless. It is not limited by the limitations of the Upadhi. Just like when we see an object, the object has spatial limitations, but the light pervading it is limitless. So this invisible consciousness, called the Avyakt Atma, manifests in the body and becomes Vyakta. That is why the body is alive. Just like all these invisible waves present in the atmosphere, the internet waves, the audio waves, the radio waves, all these waves which are present, they manifest in the gadgets like the cell phone, TV, radio, all these gadgets, they tap those waves, and then they become experienceable. Similarly, this is a gadget, the Anatma, in which the consciousness manifests and makes this body alive and experienceable. And when the body dies, the consciousness is always present, but it is no more Vyakta. It's just present. So in the Shastras, it is called Vyakta Chaitanya and Avyakta Chaitanya. Wherever there is a body, it will become Vyakta. Otherwise, when the body goes, it remains Avyakta. So this Anatma of ours, the body mind sense complex, is called the Anatma, and the consciousness in it is the Atma. So with the body, the conscious Atma becomes Vyakta, becomes visible. Minus the body, it remains invisible. It becomes Vyakta, Avyakta. So this body is required to make it Vyakta. So we are composite entities of Atma and Anatma. The Atma is timeless, eternal. whereas the anatma is time bound. And if we have this knowledge, then we are not going to have expectations of immortality from this gadget of ours. This is there, it's here for some time frame only. So once we know that, why will we be sorrowful then? This is how grief is going to go when we have this knowledge. So now, to the spiritual sadhana which is required to realize our truth. Okay, this is the truth we understood. Now how do we realize it? How do I realize what is my truth? So to realize this truth, all that is required is disidentification from the Atma, which is perishable, to identification with the Atma, which is imperishable. The I, which is perishable, has to be made imperishable by shift of this identification. This is what is moksha. Moksha is shifting my identification. This is what is required. If I take myself to be this body, whenever we say body, it means the body mind sense complex, If I take myself to be this body, then I am mortal. And then we should be able to accept the mortality of this body with this old age, disease, death. Be okay with that, The problem is nobody is able to accept it. There's so much of anxiety, tension, fear about this lurking old age, disease and death. The only way we'll be able to solve this problem, that the moment we shift our identity from the anatma, the mortal anatma, to the immortal atma, then we will have no problem in this in the mortality of the body, or even the lurking death of this body, with this preceding old age and disease. Whatever will happen, we'll be able to take it gladly if we have shifted our I from this to Atma. This shift is what is required, So here people are just obsessed because this is me. The moment that shift is made, then this body becomes something like a car we have. It is a car we are using to transact here in this world, and when the car breaks down, we don't get stressed out. Or the car there will be some trouble, but then this is not the end of life, it's just the car broken down, we know that. So then we can use this body, if we have this knowledge, as a medium of transaction and not be obsessed with it as myself. Some people here, most of the people actually, are living their entire lives beautifying and making this body fit, decorating it and exhibiting it. Why? Because this is me. This is what they all are doing, Oh, that one is 70 years old, that is 80 years old, standing ovation. So what? Did you get moksha? Or have you wasted your life? If you have not got moksha, this life of yours was wasted. This body is a means to get that end, which is moksha. It is not a means to keep this. This is not the end. For most of the people, this is the end. Just the morning walk, evening walk, eat right, proteins, blah, 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 blah. This is what they're doing. What have you achieved out of this body? You've not even served the society. If you have served the society also, you've done some work. No, they're just living, they're just existing, That's not the purpose of human birth. And if I know all this, when the body goes, I will know that I did not go. Even if the person has not got moksha, in death, only the physical body dies. The jiva, which is the reflected consciousness in the sukshma and karan sharira, travels further. And that jiva's sadgati or durgati depends upon his karmas. What kind of karma that person has done that's the gati he is going to get. But if you have got moksha, you get paramgati. There is no further travel, You have merged with Brahman. You are out of this cycle of birth and death, getting videha mukti. But this has to be known, So for this shift, the shift has to be made from mortality to immortality. This is the shift we have to make. This is the spiritual sadhana. And for that we have to pray along with knowledge. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityo ma amritam gamaya. O God, please take me from sat to asat, from unreal to real. Take me from tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Tamas means the darkness of ignorance, and jyoti always is the light of knowledge. That is why we light a lamp in our culture and don't blow it out to bring the darkness of ignorance. Because in the darkness all negatives are developed. Only in darkness negatives are formed. Everything will be negative in life, So we light a lamp. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Please take me from mortality to immortality. But that doesn't mean Bhagwan is going to make this anatma immortal then, This anatma cannot become immortal. It can never become immortal, The anatma cannot become immortal, and the atma need not become immortal because it is already immortal. So we cannot immortalize either of them. Our atma cannot be immortalized. We don't have to make it immortal. It is already immortal. And the anatma can never become immortal. It is changing every moment of the life. In fact, we never meet the same person again because the person has changed at every level. It's just like, we do not meet the same water in the river again. The water is flowing all the time. The person is also changing. So this anatma cannot be made immortal, and the atma is already immortal. So what is the sadhana? Shifting this identification. Shift the identity from anatma to atma is the whole sadhana. Now for this shift to take place, the scriptures talk about certain methods of thinking. And if we can channelize our thinking along those methods, then it will become very easy for us to claim our truth, our reality, as Aham Brahmasmi, if we channelize our minds and thinking. And one of the most powerful methods is called Drig Drishya Vivek. We've already seen that in meditation and all. Drig is the subject, the observer, the Aham. And drishya is observed, the object, idam. So everything which I can see here is idam, an object of experience, experienced by me, the subject, aham. I cannot experience myself. If I experience myself, then that has become idam. Aham is a subject, we can never experience ourselves because that is me. Just like the eyes, they see all the objects, but the eyes cannot see themselves. Eyes are ever the seer, never the seen. So, object and subject are different. So first we have to make this distinction. All that which I am seeing here, I cannot be that. So the first thing which I am seeing is this Jagat. This world with all the objects in it arriving and departing. So I know this is an object of experience for me. So I cannot be this Jagat. And we all know that very well. We have no problems with the Jagat. We know we are not the Jagat. Problem starts with this body, mind, sense complex. So this physical body of ours, we only experience it in the waking state. We use this body only in the waking state. In the dream state and in the deep sleep state, this body is not available. In the dream state, we have a dream body. In the deep sleep state, there is no body. So we are identifying and disidentifying with this body all the time. Every day we are doing it, So how can I be something which comes and goes? I am that which is always present. So this body I am not. This is an object of experience. We have negated the physical body. It is idam. This is a drishya. Then the mind. The mind is available in the waking state and the dream state. In deep sleep state, there is no mind. Because there is no mind, there is no anxiety, tension, fear, raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, everything gone. Raja, araja bhavati, mata, mata bhavati. All problems are solved. We are all liberated and muktahas in sushupti. But we don't get enlightened in deep sleep. We only become lightened because we wake up with all that baggage again. So, Karan Sharira we don't experience only. That is not a Sharira of experience, it is the cause, This is what we are experiencing. The world I am not, body, mind I am not. So, what am I? I am the witness of these objects. I am the witness consciousness, which is the Atma, and Atma is Paramatma. This is my reality. So this is the teaching. We have just, this is the gist, of all the shlokas. Up to the 25th shloka, Bhagavan talks about all this, He tries to explain in these shlokas to Arjuna that Atma is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta. What is Atma? This, in all these, till 25 shlokas, he is going to talk. After that, he talks about the ethical factors, how ethics is important for us here, morality is important. And lastly, he talks about the worldly factors. The worldly factors which all the humans are only worried about. Name, fame, reputation, that's all they are worried about. So Bhagavan talks about that, And through all this knowledge, he is telling Arjuna that Bhishma and Drona are only Atmas. And you cannot kill that. What kill? You can't even touch that. So why are you worried? Why are you worried about their death? You just do your duty, is what Bhagavan is trying to tell. This is the philosophical approach. It's an argument of philosophy why you should go and kill them. Because he's actually not going to kill the actual person. So there was like a criminal. He had committed some grave crime and was about to be given a capital punishment. And then suddenly he remembered some Gita he had heard some long time back, So he tells the judge, no, I have not killed that person because I cannot kill. I am the Atma. So the judge smiled, and because he had also studied Gita, he says, yeah, I am not punishing you because I cannot punish you. You will always remain untouched. You are the Atma. I'm just punishing this upadhi of yours which has committed this crime, So many times people misuse the knowledge of Gita also. So here in this shloka, Bhagavan is telling Arjuna, Na tve vaham jatu nasam, na tvam eme janadhipaha. It is not true that I, you or these kings were not there in the past. Na chaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. And this is also not true that hereafter we will not be present in the future. So in this shloka he is telling him Atma is Nitya. It is Sat. Atma is Sat is what this shloka is talking about. Trikale api tishtati iti Sat. That which is present in all three periods of time. Bhagavan is talking about Nitya Atma here. And he is also telling all of us through Arjuna that we people are never born and we will never die. This upadhi of ours is born and it has to die, and when it dies, before that it goes through the 6 modifications we studied in Tattva Bodha. What were they? Asti, Jayate, Vardate, Viprinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati. Asti, this comes into existence in the womb of the mother. Jayate, it is born. Vardate, it grows. Viprinamate, it undergoes metamorphosis. Apakshiyate, the downhill of the life starts. Vinashyati, it dies. So this is going to go through and we cannot stop it. There is no way we can stop this, So, and if we know this fact, then we will be absolutely fine with letting this body go through its stages, We will not be running to the beauty parlors and plastic surgeons and trying to make this body look beautiful. You know, even when they do that, it is surprising that they're trying to hide their wrinkles with Botox and color their hair with this, that, and paint up their faces. But actually the buddhi knows that you have wrinkles and your hair is actually grey and whatever you're painting is all temporary. So we don't have to do all this to impress this world. We don't have to make this world happy by our appearance, you know. This is all foolishness. We don't have to spend our life. Every age has its beauty. In fact, you know, when we are aging, the physical body may not look very attractive after some time, but the mind has become so attractive because of the wisdom it has gained through all these experiences of life. At least for some people, the wise elderly people, it is such a pleasure in meeting them. It's really that interaction is not easily forgettable because you met a beautiful person, not a beautiful looking person. Oh, aap mote ho gaye, aap patle ho gaye, aapke baal ye. What nonsense, you know, that category is separate. It is the human being which actually is. So Bhagwan is giving us this knowledge. I am immortal. This body is mortal. I have got this body after a lot of punya karmas for a purpose. Purpose is moksha. You let this body go, just beautifying it all the time, gratifying it all the time. You're gratifying the physical body, you're gratifying the mind, you're gratifying the ego, or very high means gratifying the intellect, but you wasted your life. You didn't get moksha. You left this world without getting moksha. So we are not supposed to dance to the tunes of this body mind sense complex and their demands. We don't have to fulfill that. The body mind says I'm getting bored, so you switch on something and start watching. That means you are a slave to the mind. We have to have this body mind sense complex under our control. We have to be their master, a swami of this body mind complex. This, we don't have to dance to the tunes of this body mind sense complex. Whatever is demanding, we are fulfilling. Oh, today I'm bored, so I'm running there, because the mind is asking for that. And the toughest thing to handle is the mind. This mind is the biggest problem. Shastra says, Man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho bandhaye vishayasaktam muktam nirvishaya smritam. This mind is the cause of all bondage and also the cause of freedom. So we have to be able to transcend this mind. And how we will transcend this mind is what Bhagwan is going to teach in all these shlokas, which we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.